welcome to this episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the lands where this conversation took place. Land which was never ceded. Land where communities came together to eat seasonally, locally and without exhausting resources. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and to any First Nations people listening today. Today I'm talking to Chris Wong. Chris is the chef and co-owner of Lilijana Eatery in Port Melbourne and brings a unique culinary story to Melbourne's food scene. A former professional hockey player who spent nearly a decade travelling to and from Scandinavia for the winter season, Chris was inspired by the comfort and traditions of the Nordic cuisine he ate in his friends' homes. His restaurant, named after his wife Christine's grandmother Lilijana, blends Scandinavian and continental European flavours with a focus on house-made sourdough, smoked salmon and pickles. Chris actually trained and worked in industrial design, but he always wanted to work with food. With lockdown and more time on his hands, he volunteered at Gradi to learn some skills, and he worked with various mentors in the hospitality industry. Chris and his wife Christine initially started with a food truck making pizza before transitioning to running Lilijana Eatery with Christine's sister Steph. The cafe's thoughtful menu, warm hospitality and Chris's commitment to sustainability have earned it a spot in Good Food's top 20 cafes, a testament to their hard work and passion. Chris is a driven chef with an insatiable desire to learn more, and he loves sharing everything he learns with his customers, both in the cafe and in the classes he teaches upstairs on Bay Street. I loved hearing Chris's story, and I can't wait to go back to Lilijana Eatery to try more Scandinavian treats. Hi Chris. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming by.
Sorry, I'm a bit sort of glowing because I live on the other side of Port Melbourne and I walked like 30 minutes.
It doesn't seem hot today, but it's actually
really warm.
Yeah, it's really hot in the kitchen.
To go back, it will be really hot from the kitchen. Yeah. And you're out behind. Don't have any windows out there? No.
We do have one, but it's kind of like facing an alleyway, so not much air.
No, okay, yeah, that's right.
Anything,
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks for coming by.
Oh, thanks for your time. Yeah, perfect. And congratulations on being in the Good Food.
I know, I don't think we really expected it because, I think we got like reviewed like maybe like 3 weeks kind of thing, and then,
So great, what a great testament to what you're doing.
I know, I think, like I say, I don't think we really expected it kind of thing.
Yeah. And I also read the article in Broadsheet as well, so that's always good getting in there, isn't it?
Exactly, I think it does help quite a bit. You know, especially when we're starting up. You know, we don't really like have like a name, so it's like kind of hard for people to kind of know who we are. So,
How long have you been open?
Just about 3 months now, so not too long.
Right. And Bay Street is an interesting street. And I feel like there's lots of things picking up now, so I think it's going to get a lot better.
Do you think it's, I've got it upstairs, if that's like...
It's great up here, isn't it?
Yeah, so it had all this like wallpaper and everything, we like ripped it all out and repainted everything, so
And I see with the broad bean dip by Annie Smithers work there. Annie Smithers is one of my favourite chefs, and she's so great to talk to, and she's always really generous with what she shares in her stories and so on. So I just spoke to her recently about her new book that she put out.
We've got that. We actually got a kind of a good relationship with Annie as well, because Christine, who you met, that's my wife. They actually grew up in Dalesford, and Steph, my sister-in-law, who is also runs the front of the house, she worked for Annie as well. So,
okay. So small world.
So it was good, like her bringing that experience along as well. It's
yes, absolutely.
It's good.
Yeah, I feel like I read a little bit of your story, and there's so many things to talk about.
It's a bit all over the place.
It's amazing.
It's not really your typical kind of.
No. So, let's start off with the food that you're doing here, which is Nordic. And does that come from your experience?
Yeah, it kind of does. I think the funny thing is, like, a lot of the times when people come in, they're like, oh, who's the chef? Like, so I try to stay in the back because everybody's expecting like a blonde hair, blue-eyed person to come out kind of thing. But it's actually from my experience because I used to actually play professional ice hockey.
Yeah, I know.
The first time I went over to Finland was in 2009. I had a really good friend here that we kind of grew up at the ice rink together, but he was moving back to Finland and he said, well, why don't you come along and just play one season and then see how you go. So that happened probably all the way until 2018, I think just before COVID. Like every year I would just finish school as quick as I can. Like if I had any exams, I would say, can I just do them earlier? And then I would basically didn't have a summer for like about 10 years. I would go from here straight to Finland for like the first 8 years. And then I'll come back literally, a day before school starts in Feb or whenever it starts, and just do that on repeat. And I think it was such a big part of my life, and I guess you sort of miss that kind of food and that just whole experience there. Like winter's so different over there, like Christmas is such a totally different thing over there, not like here. And that just kind of like comfort food was probably what I missed, and I really wanted to, I guess, for myself to share that with, Christine, my family, and her family as well, but also thought, for everybody else as well, like, it's not that easy to find here, I guess, so it was something that I really wanted to share.
And where did the chef part of it come in?
So it's weird because I actually always wanted to be in the kitchen. I grew up in Hong Kong because that's where my family's from, and of course like food is just massive over there. You don't realise it, but as soon as you step out into the street it's everywhere. And my family's, especially my dad's side, so really great cooks. Like they're not trained or anything, but it's just what they grew up with. And I really wanted to do that when I finished school or even before that, but it was kind of hard because I was so into ice hockey as well. I guess it's like a typical like Asian upbringing. Like I was doing sport, I was kind of like doing my best in school as well, and then at that same time I used to play like the cello as well, so like all these things and then it was just I think it just didn't really like make sense at that time because playing hockey, I was already at a pretty high level, so it was kind of like training nearly every night. On the weekends we would fly interstate to play games, and it just didn't really fit in. And I guess at that time it was like, maybe, from my parents' side as well, it's probably not that great of like a career. So I'm actually a trained industrial designer as well. So I finished. So Christine and I actually met at Monash doing industrial design. So
Goodness, the movie of your life was already quite packed.
You don't realise it until I guess someone asks you, what have you done, kind of thing, and you're like, actually it's all these things have happened.
Yeah. And so then...
going back to, I think I really had the opportunity to kind of go in the kitchen when COVID hit. So, like I said, because I've always been so involved in everything in my life, I guess that suddenly stopped. I couldn't play hockey at all, obviously, and that was actually one of the last sports that they kind of restart again because it was indoors, full contact as well, so that basically stopped for like 2 years. And it was kind of hard because, I was just coming off like a really I just finished playing professionally in Sweden. It was my first proper contract there, and coming back, and then we just couldn't do anything. And I thought, like my design work as well was like pretty much straight away. They said, look, we need to cut everybody's hours, and I thought, oh well, if I'm just going to be sitting at home doing nothing, then I might as well go and do something else. So it kind of worked out well. I helped Christine's dad do some work. He does epoxy flooring for a lot of kitchens. So basically, like the first job we went to work with him, I was doing some floors for Johnny's new factory, for Johnny DiFrancesco's new factory in, I think it was not the Coburg one, but he was still, I think, just off Sydney Road, and then he just came and just checked the floors, and I just asked, look, like, I've got nothing to do, I've always wanted a kitchen, can I just come in?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to pay me or anything, I just need something to do. So I went into Gradi in Brunswick. I think first couple of weeks, I was still like doing, only had like a couple of days off from my usual work, so then I went in maybe 3 days for like the first 2 weeks, and then I really loved it, and then I said, look, I want to come in more, but it just kind of depends if you want me to be around or not. And then they said, no, we actually really want you, because again, I think the situation was great for me, not for hospitality in general, because a lot of their staff were from overseas or Italy and they couldn't come in, so they were really short on staff. And of course, like for them, if someone is willing to work,
yes,
then it's perfect for them. So I kind of talked to my work and said, look, instead of doing 3 full days, can I work, this is my design job, I said, can I start earlier at like 6 o'clock, finish at 2, but I'll come in every day, like Monday to Friday. And they said, yep. So then I would do that and then go straight to Brunswick and then work until night. So then I did that pretty much every day, and then I worked on the weekends as well. I thought it's just better doing something than just sitting at home. And I was always used to working and going to training as well, or on the weekend flying into state to play games. It was kind of no different.
And did it match your, you had this desire to be in the kitchen, did that meet your expectations?
Yeah, I think it was good, because obviously a lot of people would be like, oh, just wait till you get in there, you might not like it. And I thought, well, the only way to kind of see what it's like is just to go in. And I think having played hockey for such a long time in my life, it was quite similar, I guess. And
as far as the discipline, or
I think players and discipline,
rules, or what?
I think the discipline, and I think I guess I always say, like, working in food, and especially like the back of house, it's probably one of like the only professions that I think if you work really hard, you can really climb up the ranks. And I guess that's quite similar to, playing sport as well. Like I was never, I would never say I was talented or anything. And, like people will look at me and say, well, you can't be an ice hockey player, you're like 5'6", like, but, for me, it was just like, well, if I work harder than the person next to me, then, maybe I can get ahead of them, kind of thing. And I guess that really resonated with me in the kitchen.
And what were you doing when you first started at Gradi?
So I was, again, the situation was great, because I literally went in there. Of course, the first 2 weeks you can just be, chopping vegetables or helping out the dishwasher, shucking oysters, or whatever, all those jobs that nobody really wants to do. And then because we were so short on staff, it was basically, can you come and do this, can you come and do this? And then at that time as well, I think they were just starting to do like their vacuum sealed pizza bases, and they didn't have the factory yet. They were still stretching it by hand and putting it in each of the ovens. And I said, like, again, you don't need to pay me, I'll come earlier in the morning and I'll help you do that. Because I just wanted to learn, and I guess maybe that was like something good they saw in me. Like, it's not that often, even for me now, like looking for staff, it's hard to find people that actually want to learn. It's more like a casual job for them. So I was just kind of learning everything, and then probably like a couple months later I was more like pushed into like the pizza section, and I was doing that. I was probably at Gradi for maybe 2 or 3 years.
Wow, okay.
But mainly doing pizza at that time, and again, it was just good because I kind of just went wherever they told me to, or if someone needed help with anything, because I wanted to learn, and say, no, I'll come and do it. Because then it's good. Like, then people will kind of be like, well, like, Chris can do this and this, like, just let him do that. Yeah, so that was good, and slowly you get more responsibility. So I got moved around to Essendon as well, where it was like a little bit less, not as crazy as Brunswick, but it was good because there was less pizza chefs or back of house staff, so you kind of got more responsibility. Like, I remember like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks in, they said, Chris, why don't this is your oven, you cook on a Friday night. And I was like, what? Like, I just like just started, like,
wow.
But they said, that's the only way to kind of learn, like just do it. And then I guess I had really good mentors as well, so that was good. They just said, just do it. And then
how was the heat? How are the burns?
It was, I think, not great in summer. Like, the aircon never worked when you needed it to work. No. So, and of course, like, you're in front of the two like 400-degree ovens in Brunswick, and and they've got the open window behind you, so like everybody can see you just sweating in front of the ovens. And,
wow.
But, it was great. Yeah.
And then at what point did you feel ready to take that out on your own for Porcupine?
Yeah, so Porcupine was kind of like, I think at Gradi it felt like at some point after like maybe the 2-year mark kind of thing, it was, I guess, a little bit repetitive for me, and I thought, like, maybe we can do something ourselves, and I really wanted to kind of like bring like Christine on board as well, and we thought, why don't we kind of, I guess the end goal was always to open something ourselves like this, but probably at that point we didn't, it's quite a lot of capital you need to invest, and for us it was probably just, why don't we just like try something small first and then see how that goes. So we just put a little bit of money into kind of like setting up the food truck, and then it was mainly just to see like, do people want to like kind of eat the food. And back then we thought, what's something that's kind of familiar to people, that I've got experience with. And I thought, if I've been doing pizzas for quite a while, we'll just transfer that to a food truck. And we thought, I don't really need to get too much staff, like I can pretty much cook everything myself. And the plan was just like, we'll just do it on the weekends to see how it goes. We'll keep our jobs. But
So the whole time you were at Gradi, you still had your job?
Yeah, so we had, I think there was one about like a year that I was like setting up the food truck, still at my design job at Gradi as well, just trying to balance everything.
And what happens when you go from somewhere like, so you learned pizza at Gradi, but then you're setting up your own pizza thing? Are there certain rules around what you can, like recipes or things that you can take or use or whatever?
So I think, like, I talked to my mentors and everything actually before I started, and they actually just said, just do it.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing kind of like stopping you or anything. I actually didn't learn any of the dough making at Gradi because they actually don't do it on site.
Okay.
They do it at their factory, which is probably better for them because they got so many locations, and it just comes in. They just deliver it to the shops in the morning.
Yeah.
So actually, I spent a lot of time, making my own dough recipe in those the years that I was at Gradi, and again, it was just like extra time, learning from my mentors outside of the shop, going to their house, and them teaching me this is what you should do if you want this result or this, and then it was kind of testing, and it was similar to me testing the bread here. I think I did over 30 recipes or something just to get the bread right and everything. So, and for me, I think for pizza, the dough is probably the most important thing, and then the rest was just sourcing really good ingredients for the toppings and everything.
And if you're in a food truck, what sort of pizza oven do you have?
So we actually had and this was kind of good because our design background came into really good handy which we still don't realise with the shop. There's so many things that our design background helps quite a bit. So at the start, we were looking for a second-hand truck, but we just couldn't find anything that we wanted because we actually wanted some fries in there as well to do pizza fritters, so where we fold the dough and we fry them, because we wanted, if it's just pizzas, we want something kind of a little bit different as well. And then we just ended up saying, look, if we got a second-hand one, we would probably have to rejig some things as well. We might as well kind of just design our own truck kind of thing. So we actually ended up going for a wood fire one. I think at that time when we were starting, some of the gas ones, which are good, I think they wouldn't sign it off for some of the insurance things, which is crazy because you'd think the wood fire would be a high premium on the insurance, but and the oven was kind of actually hard to find because a lot of the wood fire ones were quite heavy, and it would have been too heavy for the truck that we were designing. So I eventually found one that was the right kind of weight and everything, and then we just designed the truck kind of around that. But it's good because people have this notion in their head that wood fire pizza is, even though if you talk to any of the pizza chef, it doesn't really make too much of a difference actually. So, so,
right.
Yeah.
And so, and that's still going? Yep.
So we actually sold our food truck because that was the other thing with the food truck. The first few years we kind of did everything we could, events, festivals, catering, and then we just realised it was quite a bit of risk with doing events, especially with the weather. Even this year you can see every Saturday or Sunday it's been the worst weather, and we've been doing catering on weddings on the weekend, and it's just last week it's setting up in the rain kind of thing. So doing events was not great, so we just for the first year, after the first year we stopped doing that because you just didn't know if people would show up, but places would still charge you crazy amounts, hundreds and hundreds of dollars just to be there, and you just have no guarantee kind of thing. So we just ended up our second year, and now we just do private catering, and we realised that a lot of the weddings or the private caterings were kind of in houses or weddings that didn't really care too much about seeing the truck or not, and we thought, well, instead of figuring out how we need to store the truck, run all the equipment on it, we just kind of downsized to just a little marquee setup, which we actually had after our first year because we said, we kind of need a smaller setup for homes and everything. So we thought, if we can still deliver the same quality and everything with a smaller setup, then we just run with that. So it's just a bit easier, even for like, there was a bit of a risk, like I was the only person like driving the truck and I can't be everywhere. So this other way was better because anybody can drive it. With the things in the back. So yeah,
amazing.
So yeah.
And then when did the idea for Lilijana come up?
So I guess like we always, like I said before, wanted to open a shop. We knew it was kind of like quite a big risk to do it, but I guess we always just said, look, if we don't give it a shot, like we don't know what's going to happen. Like we don't have kids yet or anything, and I think we built up a little bit of capital with the porcupine, but I guess it was like quite hard to, express our creativity, which I understand. Like I would have like a few special flavours or topping combinations for pizzas or like ideas for canapes, but when you're feeding like a party or a wedding, you kind of just want to make sure everybody's satisfied with the food, so you would end up just making maybe like all margaritas or like cappuccinos and pizza. So yeah, I couldn't really like stretch my creativity as well, and also it was quite hard to maintain like relationships with the customers, because you do an event and the relationship kind of just stops there. Like you might get a few like recommendations to other places, but like most people just say, oh, where do you guys have a shop? Like where can we just come and have your pizza, or where can we just come and have your food? And we say, oh no, we don't, we just run this. And then for them it's like, well, do I need to book like a party for you guys to come? So it was kind of like we couldn't really keep like the relationship with people.
That's an interesting point though, isn't it? That, that is another aspect of hospitality, is that it's great to feed people, but having that exchange with people, and I think that's a really important thing to notice, that, if you do really love hospo, it's the whole package, isn't it?
Yeah, and, Christine and Steph, my sister-in-law, they run the front of the house here, and for them, I could see as well that, like what you just said, they didn't have that interaction with people, and they really missed like being able to serve people again. Like we would get like people coming back a few times, but since we stopped doing so many public events, it was even less that we would get those interactions again. So I think that, combined with like me not being able to really express like my creativity, meant that we were kind of like looking to open it somewhere, and I think we've actually been looking since October last year for a spot, and it was, I guess we were kind of all over the place as well. We started, like the original idea was we wanted to move back to the country, to where Christine was from, to Dalesford, but I guess it's already hard in Melbourne now opening a spot, and it probably would have been even harder doing something in the country as well, especially if you don't have a name or anything. So then we just kind of looked around here and just found this spot in Port Melbourne.
And you were mentioning before about how you went through a lot of iterations of the dough for the pizza, but also the bread here. Yeah. Did you have to do that? I mean, you had some ideas of things that you experienced in Finland and different places, Nordic places. Yeah. But how did you then go about deciding on what you were going to serve?
So that was also like we were talking about that for quite a while. The easier thing would have been, well, why don't we just keep the name and open up a shop for porcupine? Everybody's familiar with pizza, but I guess we always want to make things hard for ourselves. But like I remember like at Gradi as well, like you end up just making margarita pizzas again, and I guess there's such a kind of idea of what like pizza should be, and there's thousands of pizza shops in Melbourne, Victoria, or whatever as well. And I guess for me, it's like, well, that was what I learned at Gradi, but was that really like me?
Yeah.
Like, what do I actually want to do? So I had to think about it, and I guess I just thought about all my experiences and what have I learned in Scandinavia or in Hong Kong as well. Like, so in Finland and in Sweden and when I was in Denmark for a little bit as well, it was kind of like not very popular to have their traditional food outside actually. Like all their traditional food was cooked in homes, and when I was living with them, I was like, well, like this is like we can't have anything remotely similar to this back home. Like I used to, bring home like all these loaves of rye bread from Finland as I came back. I checked with customs, they're right. Yeah, the first time I was a bit worried. I was like, is it okay to bring this in? And no, it's good. It's like packaged and everything. So, and I would just like put them in the freezer. And I guess I was like thinking about like all those things, like, my friend's mum teaching me how to smoke and cure the salmon. And when we were doing that, when it was -20 in the little smokehouse outside, his grandmother, where their whole house was just heated by their wood fire oven, and it's just an integral part of it that she showed me how they bake the rye bread and how we use the residual heat left in the oven for the next few days to bake other things. And I thought that was just so interesting, and I guess I'm just somebody that really likes to learn things, like foraging, like over there is big, and of course it's different things over here as well. And so I learnt from a friend here. She takes me out foraging out in Warburton to look for mushrooms and everything. So all that is just me like building up knowledge, especially even the preserving and pickling. It's such a big thing over there because realistically back in the day they would only have maybe 3 months to grow vegetables, and the rest of the year the sun doesn't come out or comes out for 2 hours. So they really, ingrained in them of how do we pickle and preserve things. So like all those things, like throughout the 10 years I was there, just you don't notice it, but you just kind of build this knowledge. And I guess because I always had an interest in food, I was, always there just thinking, oh well, like why don't you teach me how to do this kind of thing.
Amazing.
And and I think I just wanted to bring that to here when we had open Lilijana, and it's called Lilijana as well because it's named after Christine's nonna who passed away in September last year, and it's so multicultural, like our story. Like even Christine, she's Italian, but nonna was actually Slovenian, and she. There were things that she used to cook us as well that you just can't find anywhere else. And I think it was just this idea of like, well, if we wanted to do something and we want to put our effort into something, why don't we do something that means something to all of us? So that's why it's a little bit Nordic and also a little bit continental, European as well, like our menu. And I think that was the idea of doing something that means it to us. Because if I guess we wanted just to purely make money, then I would have just stayed in design. Like I would have never, left that as well. So I think that at the end of the day is more important to us to.
And what are the items on the menu that have been the most popular?
I think definitely the sea plate. I guess that really like shows everything that we do here, because the salmon I cure in-house. And again, it's all about like learning for me as well. I try to, it'll be easy for me just to, order in some like salmon fillets or whatever, or like I see some people just getting in smoked salmon, but for me, because I don't have that hospitality experience as other chefs do for like years and years, I try to do it the harder way, I guess, and I bring in like a full salmon, but at least every day I practice, I hone my skills of filleting the salmon. I can pass that knowledge along. I curate the traditional way that they show me in Denmark, and then in the seed plate we also have a ricotta kind of dill spread. So I make the ricotta here as well myself, because that way I can control the consistency of the ricotta. Sometimes you get ricotta from somewhere else, it's too wet. It just doesn't go right, so that I can control that. The sourdough I bake here as well. So again, it's just like I can control the quality of everything, and I know like we bake bread every morning here, and the last thing on there is the pickles, which all the jars of pickles we do here, like you can see it at the front of the shop. So I guess that's one of the dishes I'm most proud of, and also I think people can really see that we put a lot of effort into that. But yeah, there's also we always get good comments about our ciabatta bread as well, because again I bake it every morning. So we just try to I guess do things that it might not be as familiar to people. So I guess that is kind of like the hard thing to get across. But I think once people kind of try the food, they're happy to kind of come back. I think it's a bit unexpected that.
And then obviously you do love it because you want to share that with other people, because you have classes as well.
Yeah.
Do you actually ever sleep?
Maybe a nap here and there.
So what made you think about classes? Is that just because that you really do think it's a great cuisine and there's things to share with people?
Yeah, so the class is actually Christine's idea. She's, none of this thing would be possible without her. She basically runs the business, so I'm just the one cooking, really. So I guess it was a way to activate the space upstairs. She does put all the prints up and everything, because she's still really involved in designing all our branding and running everything. But yeah, it was just a way to, I guess, share the knowledge, and we have people, commenting the sourdough is so good, what do you do? And I say, well, there's no secret, I'll teach you, we'll just run a class. Or the pickles, they say it's so different to normal pickles, and I say, oh yeah, because there's a different way of how they do it in Scandinavia, but just come to the class, I'll just show you. There's no, I just think it's good to share the knowledge and give back to the people that were so open to sharing the knowledge with me as well. So yeah.
And as a newcomer to the industry and so on, Melbourne can be a hard town, but you've already had great accolades, which is excellent. Do you follow the reviews? Do you read comments, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think this is especially now. I just went to Ben Shuri's opening night for his book as well, and I read his book, and I can definitely see where that's coming from. But I think for us as well, it is quite a massive help. We're very, very lucky, because sometimes we say, imagine they didn't come in and we didn't get some of this media. It's already not easy right now. It would have been even harder. So I think, for us, I take it with a grain of salt. I think the most important review is are the customers happy when they're leaving? I think that's the most important thing. Are they coming back? But it does help quite a bit when you don't have a name, to kind of spread the word a bit. And I guess the main thing is just if it helps people find us, and then it's our job to make sure the service and the food that we put out is good, and that's up to us, I guess, to do that. Yeah.
So as well as all the pickling and fermenting and curing and smoking and making sourdough, all of those things and teaching classes, I get the impression that you do like continuing to learn. Where do you go for that inspiration or to learn more?
Yeah, so I read a lot. I got a lot of books, but I also try to do as many like classes myself as I can. So, I have a list of goals every year, and I try to attend at least 3 or 4 classes, because I know I do lack the knowledge to other people. So I go to, or I have like friends that I always ask. So with the pickling and preserving, I always ask. If I have any questions, I ask Kyle from Hazel. He's really good and he helps me quite a bit with things. And also, he's great at helping me figure out like what do I do to keep my kitchen sustainable as well. So, like all these things I make, I try to use parts of it. Like I fillet the salmon, but I keep all the heads and the bones, and I use it to make stock, or the ricotta. After I make the ricotta, the whey, I actually use the whey to brine the chicken for our chicken sandwiches. So I try to figure out ways of like how to keep like our food waste down, which is great because I think at the start we used to schedule our collection for like a couple of every fortnight, but now I think it's over a month because we're just not filling up the bins enough, so which is good for us. I mean, it saves us money, and also back to like classes. Last year I flew up to Sydney. I think Josh Nolan was running a class and I went to that as well. I've been to some of Annie's classes on so I just try to like, if there's something that I'm interested in and I think it's worthwhile going, I'll do that. But I think nowadays there's so much information, online or in books as well, and it's just a matter of like putting it to practice and trying it. And if it doesn't work, just try again. And I guess that kind of just builds my experience as well. And,
Thank you. No. That's so great. What a great story. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Chris Wong at Lilijana Eatery in Port Melbourne. You can check out all the goodness on Instagram at liliana.eatery, that's LILIJANA.eatery, or in person at 169 Bay Street in Port Melbourne. They also have a really great website with news about events and classes and so on at www.lilianaeatery.com.au. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. You can read the chat and become a subscriber at www.conversationwithachef.com. And of course, you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I would love it if you told a friend about my chats, because that's still the best way to get the stories out there. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit.